Hey everyone! I am back with another video, and that is the Book Unhaul Challenge. This was started by Books and Lala, and I will leave the link to that in the down bar. And basically, it is a challenge to help you declutter your book collection a little bit, which I always need. Basically, I always need it. I'm always running out of room. And so there are 10 categories, and you're supposed to pick a book from each category that you are going to unhaul. Now, I have gone above and beyond. I have picked more than one book for most categories. And for some of them, it's several books. So I'm really pleased about that because my room is just it's covered in books. It's not good. It's not good. It needs to be They need to be on the shelves. There needs to be enough room for me to get them on the shelves. So without further ado, let's start going through the categories. So the first one is a book you rated low. So I have a few for this one. And I mean, low, it's not super low, but 3 stars, I guess, is fairly low. So the first one for that is The Book of Broken Hearts by Sarah Auckler. I really loved 20 Boy Summer by her, but this one just didn't grab me the same way. It was okay, it just wasn't anything really special. The next one, again 3 stars, is Read Bottom Up, a novel by Neil Shaw and Skye Chatham. And this is one of those books that's written in it's written in emails and texts and that kind of thing. And I mean, I don't mind that format, but I didn't like the main characters really. Like either of them, the guy or the girl. I was not a fan. I wasn't really a fan of their communication styles, which, you mean, they needed help. Like, they weren't great at communicating. The only thing I really liked about this book was what happened to the 2 side characters at the end, and I don't think it's really worth keeping around just for that. So, and then the third one in this category is Shut Out by Cody Keplinger. This was okay for reading it through once, but I don't really think that I need to read it through again. And I didn't like some of the characters and their choices. I didn't like how the whole sex strike was handled and discussion around that. I think the discussion around that could have been a little bit better. So yeah, there's that one. The next category is a book that you changed your mind about. And I have just a couple for this one. So the first is The Assassin's Curse by Cassandra Rose Clark. And this one, I wasn't wowed by it initially anyway, but I was kind of interested in seeing where it went in the sequel. And then, it's been years since the sequel's come out, I think. I haven't read it, and I actually have read some things suggesting that the sequel is not as good. So considering I only gave the first one 3.5 stars, if the sequel's not even as good as that, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna keep going. Jessica Rules the Dark Side by Beth Fantasky. I think I quite enjoyed this one when I first read it, but I just don't need it around anymore. I'm kind of over the whole vampires thing, I think, and yeah. I don't need it anymore. And the last one is Chatain's Guardian by Robin Hardy, and I don't feel like I need it on my shelves anymore. I don't think I'm going to reread it anymore, so it is moving on. And then the next category is a series you're not going to be continuing with. And I don't know that I won't be continuing with this series, but I feel like I don't need it on my shelves. And that is the Heist Society series by Ali Carter. I've read and reviewed the first 2 books in the series. I haven't read the third. I think I might pick it up at some point from the library. It's not urgent. I don't really need to read it. It's probably cute, but yeah. And then the next category is a book that you did not finish or DNF'd. I have a lot of books I DNF, and then sometimes what happens is years later I'll come back to it and I'll actually like read it straight through and I'll end up enjoying it or at least liking it. I mean, that happened to me with Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I DNF'd that. Like, I tried 3 times or something to read that thing, and it was not happening. And finally, I kind of pushed myself to read a little bit further, and I ended up actually enjoying it. I mean, it was weird. It's a weird book, but it was also good. Although I have not actually continued with that series yet. I need to try the sequel at some point. Anyway, too many books, too little time. So for this DNF category, I have the Bailey Game by Celia Rees. I just kind of was skimming it actually today to try to figure out if I wanted to keep it, and no, I don't think so. It sounds like it's one of those books about like bullying and how it goes too far, and I think they're very important books, but I don't feel like I'm at a time in my life where I need to read those books anymore. So this way it'll get passed off hopefully to someone who maybe will really need it. And the next one for that category is Shizuko's Daughter by Kyoko Mori. And I started reading this one, like, this dates back to my childhood. I've had this book hanging around, and I read most of it, I think, and was liking it, and then I never finished it, and now I don't really have the same pull to read it anymore, so that's that. And then the last one in this category is Chang-Xi and the Foreigner, and again, this is one I've had for years now. And I started reading it, and I think I read most of it, and then I just didn't finish. And yeah, I'm not that interested in like picking it up and starting again from the beginning. So, all right. And then the next category is a book you have multiple copies of. I don't have that many books that I get multiple copies of. I mean, I have a duplicate copy of Pride and Prejudice, but I'm keeping both of those and hoping to expand my collection. But one that I do have that is embarrassing because I ordered it from Book Outlet and I didn't realize I had ordered it already. Probably from Book Outlet. That or maybe Chapters. I came across it in the clearance section or something. I don't know. But anyway, I had it. I had it already and I didn't realize it, and I ordered it from Book Outlet. So I have 2 copies. It's the exact same book. It's both are hardcover, same cover. It's the same, so I don't need 2 of them. So Oblivion by Kelly Krieg this copy of it is going off to somebody else. The next category is a book you'll never actually get to. Ooh, I have quite a few for this category too. Okay, so these 2 books, Death by Denim and Death by Latte, I got them as library discards. They are, I think, the second and third books maybe in a series. But I don't have the first one, which is Death by Bikini. These are by Linda Gerber, by the way. And I don't really know that I want to start this series. Lloyd Alexander's The Drakensberg Adventure and the Philadelphia Adventure. Now, I like Lloyd Alexander. I've read a number of his books. Pride and Chronicles are fabulous. But this is, like, there are a number in this series, I think. It doesn't sound like it's quite the same kind of, as much my style as the Pride and Chronicles were, which are kind of more like epic fantasy. And neither of them are the first book in the series, so I'd have to go read that first, and no, don't think so. Next one, Places I Never Meant to Be. These are stories by censored writers that are, it's edited and has an introduction by Judy Blume. I've had this book so long and I'm not picking it up, and I don't think I'm going to. And short stories are not really my thing exactly. I'm not a big fan, so there we go. A Brief Chapter in My Impossible Life by Dana Reinhardt. This is another one that I just had sitting around forever, and I don't know. And I don't know that I'm really that interested in it anymore, so. Kathy's Book that's a good question, by Stewart, Wiseman, and Brigg, maybe? who wrote this? Anyway, this is a book that, I mean, it looks like it's a really fun format. It's written, like it's got notes in the margins. You can kind of see that. And it also has like a packet of sort of extras that go along with the story. But I've kind of looked at the first few pages. I'm not super keen on the writing style. It does sound like it's a sort of interesting, creepy mystery. But I've had it so long. I haven't read it. I think it's a little too teenagery for, like, they're trying in the tone of voice to be so teenagery, and no. And the last one in this category is Midnight Magic by Avi. I feel like maybe I have read this one before. I think maybe I did, but it's been so long that I don't remember. But it's no longer really to my taste. It's more of a sort of middle grade fantasy, I guess. And I don't read much middle grade anymore. And then the next category is a book you bought because of the hype. Now, this is kind of hard because I don't buy most of my books because of hype. Sometimes I get interested in a book because of hype, but I might buy it because, you know, I'm actually interested in the storyline, or I've read a number of reviews that suggest that I will like this book. But one, I guess, that maybe could count is Article 5 by Kristen Simmons. I don't actually remember if I bought this or if I asked for it, like for my birthday or something. But anyway, it got hyped quite a bit, and I enjoyed it at the time that I read it. And then I tried to read the sequel, and I DNF'd that. I mean, I got most of the way through, and I was just really bored with the sequel, and like it was kind of confusing, hard to follow. There were lots of new people, and the feel of the book was not the same as the first one. It wasn't quite as action packed, I think, and no, I was just not feeling it. So I'm not actually sure I'm going to finish the series, so it could count for that category too. And then the next category is a book you bought because of the cover. And again, I don't buy books based on the cover, or at least not just based on the cover. Like, the cover will draw my attention in, for sure, but I will then like look at the storyline, look at the description on the dust jacket inside cover, and figure out whether or not it's something I'm going to like. And then I might, you know, look up reviews of it on Goodreads and that kind of thing. So I don't just base it on the cover, or like almost never, I would say. I know some of the other people who did the challenge also kind of tweaked this category. Is that there is a book that I might be tempted to keep because it has a nice cover. And that is Keeping the Castle by Patrice Kindle. I mean, like, I love the font. I love the striking castle at the top. It's really cute, and I like the cover, but I didn't really love the story. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe. It was just like, okay. It had some problems. Like, I didn't love the writing, I think, and the characters. And actually, I have read another book by Patrice Kindle, like when I was a kid, I think, or in my teens. I read some book about a goose. Like, I think maybe it was a retelling of The Goose Girl. And I didn't like that one much either. So I think maybe I just don't like Patrice Kindle's writing. Sorry. Anyway, much as I'm kind of sad to let the cover go, I just don't see the point in keeping the book around because I didn't really like the story. So the next category is a book you don't know anything about. And for this one, I've picked Green Angel by Alice Hoffman. This is a really short book. And I know it's like about some sort of magical realism situation. Her family's died in a disaster, and she's like haunted, and she starts to destroy herself somehow in destroying her feelings. I mean, it sounds kind of bizarre, and magical realism is not my cup of tea. It really depends on how it's done, and I don't think the way that it's done here is going to work for me. So That's that one. The last category is a book that you didn't buy. So I have a few for this one again. One is The Wicked and the Just by J. Anderson Coates. This was sent to me by the publisher many years ago now. Sorry. And I haven't read it. I did start it very briefly, I think, and it doesn't really seem like it's in a style that's going to work for me. I wasn't feeling pulled in by the writing, and I think it would be a bit of a push to get myself through it, and I just don't feel motivated enough to do that. The next one is Scent of Darkness by Margot Berwin. This was sent to me by a publisher. I have read it, and I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was a weird story, but very different than anything I'd read, and kind of compelling, in a weird, you can't put it down kind of way. This stuff is so bizarre. But I don't really think that I need to have it around anymore to reread. I don't think I'm going to want to do that. So, and those are the books that I picked for this Unhaul challenge. I liked having the categories. It made it a little bit easier, I think, to pick some books, and maybe a little bit more fun too, to try to find one to fit every category. So if you think I shouldn't be unhauling any of these, let me know. See if you can convince me otherwise, but I kind of doubt it. And if you want to join in the Unhaul challenge, just link your video below and I will go check it out. Bye!